Apple, the iPhone, the most successful retail product of our lifetime. But is the stock too expensive? Is the party over now that everyone owns a smartphone? Here to talk about it, someone who definitely knows better than me, my cat, Holly.
Is Apple still a buy? Or is the world's favorite fruit finally losing its flavor? Today on Investigraphics, we're slicing into the most iconic stock in America to figure out whether investors should take a bite. Or put it back on the shelf. Alright, let's get into it. Apple is one of those companies people love to have strong opinions about. But here's the truth. I don't love Apple today. On one hand, Apple is a profit machine. A monster. And it uses those profits to buy back shares like no one else in the game. Over the last decade, Apple has cut its outstanding shares in half. That's not financial engineering, that's financial domination. And the iPhone? In the US, it's basically a monopoly wearing a turtleneck. Over 70% of American eyeballs are looking at the world through an iPhone screen. That's why Google pays Apple billions. Yes, billions, to be the default search engine. Because Apple owns the attention economy in the US. But here's the other side. The iPhone doesn't dominate everywhere. In China, one of the most important smartphone markets in the world, Apple is not the king. And globally, iPhone growth is basically flat. The real growth engine now? Services. App Store, Apple Pay, iCloud, ads. That's where the juice is. And honestly, services might be the most underrated part of Apple's empire. The App Store is the most important app marketplace on Earth. Apple gets first shot at every new service, every new subscription, every new ad opportunity. Apple Pay is becoming a default. And with that many eyeballs, Apple's future in advertising and services is wide open. So the big question, how much should investors pay for a company with near zero iPhone growth, but a stranglehold on the US smartphone market? Let's compare Apple to other slow and steady bellwethers. Johnson & Johnson trades at a forward PE around 19.8 with 5% revenue growth and 5% EPS growth. Procter & Gamble sits at about 20.5 times earnings with 2% revenue growth and 3.7% EPS growth. Pepsi? Forward PE of 23 with 1.9% revenue growth and 6.9% EPS growth. Now Apple. Forward PE around 33, revenue growth near 7%, and EPS growth around 14.5%. Yes, Apple is more expensive, but it's also growing earnings way faster and has a tighter grip on American consumers than any of those companies. If anything, the other stalwarts look overpriced, and Apple looks fairly valued. So where does that leave us? Apple isn't a high-growth rocket ship anymore, but it is one of the strongest, safest, most profitable companies on the planet. In the Investigraphics portfolio, we're underweight all the stalwarts we mentioned, but Apple is the one we're most bullish on. One thing to watch, memory prices. DRAM and NAND costs have been rising. If Apple decides not to pass those increases on to consumers, margins could take a short-term hit. But long-term, Apple remains one of the best safety stocks you can own. So is Apple still a buy? For long-term investors looking for a reliable stalwart with elite profitability and unmatched US market power, Apple remains one of the best companies in the world. If you want deeper breakdowns like this, don't forget to check out our monthly newsletter on Patreon. This is Investigraphics. See you next time.
Friendly reminder that Holly the cat is a household pet, not a financial professional. Nothing in this video should be considered personal financial advice. All content is general and not tailored to your personal financial situation. Always do your own research or consult a two-legged professional before making financial decisions.